Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads, Breaking, Senate President Ahmad Lawan promised not to pass the hate speech bill. He said we won't pass the hate speech bill. All right, but before we go into details of the news, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube. All right, let's listen to the news.
Following the public outcry that greeted the hate speech bill, the Senate President Ahmad Lawan has said the Senate won't pass the proposed anti-free speech bills. Lawan made this disclosure in response to a detailed written protest letter against the hate speech bill and anti-social media bill before the Senate by the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HORIWA. He said legislators will listen to the pulse of Nigerians who have rejected the bills and will do exactly as they demanded. Lawan had in his letter to HORIWA dated November 20, 2019, which was endorsed by his Chief of Staff, Alhaji Babagana M. Aji, but received on December 4, 2019, titled Why National Assembly's Bill Against Free Speech Are Unconstitutional by HORIWA, stated as follows. I write to present the compliments of the President of the Senate, His Excellency Senator Ahmad Ibrahim Lawan, PhD, Con, and to acknowledge receipt of your letter on the above subject wherein you ask the National Assembly to suspend ad infinitum the current attempt at introducing obnoxious legislation to curb access to the social media. His Excellency is appreciative of your concern towards upholding our Constitution and your members' continuous use of their talent as writers to promote, protect, project the human rights of all Nigerians. His Excellency assures you that the Senate will not pass any anti-people bills into law. While thanking you, please accept the assurance of the President of the Senate. HORIWA had on November 13, 2019, written to the Senate through the offices of the Senate President titled Why National Assembly Bills Against Free Speech Are Unconstitutional. Even as the group had argued that freedom of expression is one of the fundamental rights provided in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended by virtue of the same and other international instrument, it is the freedom to hold opinions, receive ideas and information, and impart ideas and information without interference. Social media is used in reference to the means of expression other than mainstream media. Urging the National Assembly to stop forthwith any attempt to legislate laws that offend the right of freedom of speech, the rights group reminded the National Assembly that freedom of expression in Nigeria is grounded constitutionally in Section 39 of the CFRN, entrenched in the right to freedom of expression in the following words. 1. Every person shall be entitled to freedom of expression, including the freedom to hold opinions and to retrieve and impart ideas, information without interference. 2. Without prejudice to the generality of the subsection 1 of this section, every person shall be entitled to own, establish, and operate any medium for dissemination of information, ideas, and opinion, provided that no person other than the government of the Federation or of a state or any other person or body authorized by the President on the fulfillment of conditions laid down by the Act of the National Assembly shall own, establish, or operate a television or wireless broadcasting a station for any purpose or for any purpose whatsoever. The right group said similar provisions are found in Article 9 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. It does not appear a mere coincidence that Section 39 of the CFRN, which provides for freedom of expression, comes immediately after Section 38, which provides for right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Next to the thought is expression. The basis for this right, therefore, cannot be overemphasized. In a democratic society, it is one of the essential foundations of democratic society and the basic condition for its progress and development as held in European Court on Human Rights in Hertz's case, arguing that there are a plethora of decided cases guaranteeing free speech. Arewa told the Senate that the Supreme Court per Ayola JSC in the case of Medical and Dental Practitioner Disciplinary Tribunal versus Okonkwo 2001 85 LRCCN 908 declared that the court at the institution society has agreed to invest with responsibility of balancing conflicting interests in a way as to ensure the fulfillment of liberty without destroying the existence and stability of society itself. Therein lies the wisdom and need for qualification of all rights, including the one most essential right. In the same vein, there is the thought of defamation under the victim of abuse of freedom of speech can seek redress beside the criminal offense of defamation and injurious force under the Criminal Code Penal Code, Section 391 of the Penal Code. Law makes it defamation to speak against or represent by mechanical means or by signs, visible representation, or publish any imputation concerning another intending or knowing or having reason to believe that it will harm the reputation of the person.
All right, thank you very much. We just want to say that for the first time, the Ninth Senate has done, though we've not the bill has not been written off. It has passed the first reading and is going into the second reading. But from what the president of Senate, that's president of the Ninth Senate, is saying here, it's a clear indication that the public, that's the people, have gotten the day. We voted against it, and right now he's saying that there's no way the Senate will pass such bill because of multiple reaction by Nigerians against it. And for the first time, they have done what we expected them to do as a people, and we just want to celebrate the Ninth Senate under the presidency of Ahmad Lawan. But all the same, we have to take a look at this statement. How true is it? Because he's saying it, and we've also heard that this has brought a lot of division in the House. But we don't know how it would turn out to be at the end of the day. I don't know. My colleague has something to say about it.
In the 8th Senate, this was expunged. In fact, it was dead on arrival when Saraki was the Senate president. But the same person brought it out again this time. But these guys, that's the Writers Association of Nigeria, have written to the Senate president sometime in November, which is it was a long read, but I had to read it all out. And now, what they did was they took their time and mentioned every part, not just in Nigeria, in the UN Charter, in European Charter, in African Charter, in Nigerian Constitution, where expression, freedom of speech is allowed. Not just freedom of expression, even freedom of thought, freedom of expression. Everyone have perceived opinion, that you have the right to express it without interference. And they went further to say that in the case of democracy, one of the basic tenets of democracy is the freedom of speech, right to life, freedom of religion, and the fact that the judiciary has been given the sole right to balance the equation in any case where your rights are being infringed, your human rights is infringed, they will look into it and make conclusions so that there will be balance in the society. But as we speak, just as the Senate is looking into this, I really love the way the writers went ahead and explained to him, just in case probably he has forgotten. Maybe he has forgotten. They're just trying to remind him, did a refresher knowledge to him, to realize, so he will realize that Nigerians are not just, they are very intellectual. They know their guns, they know their rights. And they're explaining it to him, so don't forget that all this thing you're doing, we all know our rights. whatever you're passing into law, we will refute it. We may, in fact, we may take it to court if need be to contest it because our right is being infringed. And I guess he has listened to it and realized that, look, not just Nigeria, the world is watching, and there's no basis for repeating a bill when it's already in the law and bringing it as a law and putting it as death penalty. I just hope that he's not just saying it to please the people, but he'll put it into practice where this will not be put into law.
All right, thank you very much. That is where we'll leave it. But thumbs up to the Senate President if he stands by his word and, cancel that bill. It's a clear indication that there's some level of independency for the legislature. That's where we're going to leave it. Don't forget to go to our comment section and let us interact. What do you think about this reply that he has given to Hurewa? Don't forget also